Hello, and welcome back to this February reading vlog. This month, I want to just read a lot of romances for obvious reasons, but romance is one of those genres that I just don't read. Not for any real reason, it's just that other genres interest me more. Um, so yeah, it means that I haven't read a lot of romances, but a lot of the YouTubers that I like to watch have recommended romance books like time and time again. And this year I wanted to just broaden what I usually read. The first book I want to read is Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. This book is about falling in love when you have a marginalized identity. It's about a young black queer trans guy that is desperate to fall in love but is afraid that he will never be able to because of his identity. And as a trans person, I don't read a lot of fiction about trans people, which is something that I wanted to change this year. And I hope that this book is a jumping off point. I don't remember where I first heard about this book. If I remember later on in the video, I'll let you know. The next two books I want to read, I heard about through the book Leo. I love her videos. She's got such like a comforting and welcoming vibe, and all of her videos have helped me through like a lot of dark times. So I couldn't actually recommend her anymore. I love her videos, her like more essay deep dives, and or just her reading content and cozy content. I love it all. The books that I will be reading are All About Love by Bell Hooks and Book Lovers by Emily Henry. All About Love by Bell Hooks is a collection of essays about love. To my understanding, this book is about unpacking the question, what is love, and how our society has intertwined love with sex and desire when it doesn't have to include those things. I'm really interested in reading this book because I think the concept of love can oftentimes be dulled down by society because of our focus on romantic love, which ignores the love that you have for your friends and for your family, and sometimes the love that you have for strangers. Um, I hope that this book at some point will mention that. And overall, I'm just interested in reading this book alongside more traditional romance books. Book Lovers, however, is a fiction novel about a literary agent and an editor. It's been described as a very simple concept that is just done incredibly well, with interestingly written characters that are just fully fleshed and have fully fleshed backgrounds. And honestly, that's really what I want to read in a romance. I would just like to like turn my brain off with a book that leaves me feeling like I've read a really good story and that I've spent some time with characters that I've really loved and enjoyed. So those are the books that I'm going to read this month. I will check back in when I've read more of them. So I thought I'd just chat to you about the books that I'm currently reading while I put my makeup on for uni, because I don't actually know when I'm going to be able to film this week, because I usually film at the weekends, but my partner is coming down and I don't really want to film while he's here. No offense to him, but it just makes me feel awkward. Anyways, I am about 50 pages into Felix Ever After and about 20 pages into Beach Read. I'm enjoying Beach Read a lot more than I thought I would be. There's always this thing floating around that the characters are really good and you really enjoy them, but I usually take a while to get attached to characters. So I was like, yeah, I'll enjoy them eventually. But I'm actually really enjoying the main character and her relationship with her sister. And there's the prologue where she meets up with this guy that she's definitely going to meet up again. And even I can so vividly know who he is immediately. And what's really interesting is reading this book alongside Felix Ever After, they feel not similar at all in their themes or in their actual story. Well, I guess they kind of are. They're about two people looking for love that believe they're loveless. But how well Emily Henry does things that kind of annoy me. So the quippy sense of humour, she describes things in certain ways, and usually I really dislike that. Like, there's this one line in Book Lovers, I've literally just read it, it's why it's in my brain, where she was like, oh, serotonin shot straight to my heart. Serotonin doesn't, like, happen in your heart, right? It happens in your brain. Yeah, it's definitely your brain. Serotonin in your heart would probably be bad. And, like, that sort of kind of dialogue and writing, I usually wouldn't enjoy, because to me it never feels genuine. Like, it feels made up. Like, if your character is talking like that, it's because you've written them to talk like that. It's not how certainly anyone I know in everyday life talks. So I'm always like, oh, like, this is a fake person. Like, it's a character that's being written. And it really annoys me. And it kind of just pulls me directly out of the book. And Felix Ever After has that sort of style. It's snarkier, I think, because it's about teenagers. So there's like this, like, kind of just arseholeness about it that all teenagers have, I guess. Like, all teenagers are kind of a little arseholey, which is fine. It's supposed to be. But yeah, I think the issue I'm having with Felix Ever After is I don't particularly enjoy any of the characters, because even 50 pages in, I still don't really know who they are. Like, I know things about them. I know Felix is trans and impoverished and queer and a guy of colour, and he really wants to go to Brown University. Like, I know those things about him, but like, with the Brown University thing, like, he's clearly very ambitious to go, but he keeps procrastinating this project, and he says that it makes him feel kind of stressed and anxious, but you never see that. I don't believe that he's actually ambitious and wants to go, but he's stuck in this, like, procrastination cycle because he's possibly neurodivergent, which is something that I personally also really, really deal with. Like, this, I put so much pressure on myself, but then I don't actually do the thing because I feel stuck and I can't do it. It's a really interesting and, like, unique thing to see a character struggle with in a book, but I don't believe he actually struggles with it. And I'm well aware that could just be an issue because I'm not very far into the book. Like I said, I'm only 50 pages. It's a 300-page book. So, like, there is definitely more that I could be missing because I'm not very far through it. So I will make that judgment formally, obviously, when I do have the full information. But apart from that, I really do like the trans aspects of this book. It feels very realistic, and it feels like it's putting into words a lot of the things that I know I struggle and a lot of other trans people struggle with. And I think it is because Case and Calendar themselves is trans in some way, I would assume. It feels like it. It feels like a book written by a trans person for trans people, but I could be completely wrong. But yeah, that part of the book feels very real and very heartfelt, and I know that if I was younger, I'd probably enjoy, like, this book a lot more. And like I said, I'm only 50 pages and I will continue to read it, but I think, which is insane to say, but I've gotten a little bit too old for this sort of YA stuff. It feels like if I was like 14 and reading this, it would be so incredibly helpful. The doorbell went off and I don't remember what I was saying. But yeah, I think I was saying that, like, if I was younger, this book would have a lot more of an impact on me. And like I said, because it, like, verbalizes things that I wouldn't be able to put into words. Like, it explains the experience of being dead named, like the feeling of your family kind of accepting you on a very surface level but not actually putting in any effort to make a change. Like, it does all of those things very, very well. But I just simply think that I'm a little bit too old for this sort of book now. Not necessarily because of my age, but just because, like, how long I've been out as trans. Like, the things that used to hurt me no longer hurt me anymore. And, you know, being dead named every now and then, it still sucks, but I think it's sad that you learn to get used to it in a way that when I was also 17, I was like, oh, I'm used to it. And now that I'm 21, I was like, no, mate, you weren't. It hurt you quite a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I think I have complicated feelings about Felix Ever After, as you can tell. I think it is still a really good book to read if you are maybe younger, like if you're like around 14 and you need some comfort. Like, I think this book would be good. Not necessarily because the book itself is comforting, but because like it's just, you know, a reflection and you can see yourself in it, and that part is done incredibly well. I actually do have other things to do, so I will go do them before I head off to uni. I don't know when I'll update you next. I'm actually struggling to find time to read at the moment because I have other readings to do. My 3 modules this term are fairly heavy with, you know, like academic stuff, like readings and shit like that. 2 of them are biology based, so it's a bit pain, but I'm loving it. I'm having such a good time. But yeah, I will update you at some point. Sorry about all of the changing positions. I'm just trying to find a place where I actually like filming and I like how it looks. I am over halfway through Book Lovers right now, and I am really loving it. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I love the characters, mainly Nora and Charlie, because they are main characters, with Nora being the main character and Charlie being the love interest. But I also really like all of the kind of side characters that are slowly starting to pop up, because for a while, I'd say Libby, Nora's sister, was the only proper side character, but now you're starting to get like a little more, like all of the town's people that are starting to pop up are also really enjoyable as characters. It's one of those things where I believe Emily Henry, I keep on nearly saying Henry Emily because FNAF has just done so much damage to my brain. I believe that Emily Henry knows these characters inside out, and because of that, like they feel like real people. They feel like they have complex inner worlds. They feel like when I stop reading, they'll continue existing in a weird way. And it's kind of been a while since I've read a fiction book, even like fiction books that I've loved, where I've genuinely felt that way about the characters. So it's been really lovely. I also like how the conflict in the story feels very real as well. Like there is the layer of they are co-workers and they are both incredibly professional people. So they have genuinely considered how that would affect like their careers and their lives, and that's something that they are genuinely considering, but they also just really want to be together. So there's this actually what I think very interesting, almost internal conflict. And then they are, well, I don't know what Charlie's doing at the moment, but Nora is certainly trying it out with different people, but it doesn't feel right. And I don't know, I think it's really interesting. My biggest complaint about like the romance movies or any romance that I've read in the past was the inciting conflict, like the third act conflict, um, because it just a lot of the time it's miscommunication, and I am someone that is very direct and very blunt. So I just, if I have an issue with someone, I know from past experiences and just how I am as a person that just go up to them and be like, "Hey, I think I've misheard this. I need to talk to you about this. And oftentimes, like, that conflict gets solved so quickly and so easily. That's just something that's always kind of bothered me about romance in the past, but I'm really enjoying this one so far. And I think a main reason for that is because the conflict feels genuinely very human and very real. I also just like the story. It's like a fun, cheesy romance, like, which is what I was looking for. Um, but like I think it's a cheesy romance done really, really well. It doesn't feel forced. It feels like the story is following its natural progression, and overall, I just really like the romance. I like Nora and Charlie. Like I said, I want them to be together, but I understand why they are hesitant. It's creating really good tension, even though at the end, like, I think they're going to end up together, and I think that's a pretty good, bet. I I'm really enjoying seeing them getting there, and I love that. I think it's so fun at the moment, and I find myself, like, because I read before bed, because I spend a lot of my day reading academically, and then my little treat before bed is book lovers. And for the first time in a really long time, I can't make myself stop reading. I want to read another chapter, and then another chapter, and I find myself sitting up way too late because of that. And that's something that I've not done since I was very little, since I was a kid. And I'm just really looking forward to reading the rest of this book and finishing this book. And I just really hope that the ending is good. I haven't heard anything about the ending not being good, which for me is a good sign, because usually, this book was massive online. So if people hated the ending, I feel like I would have heard. I would have heard that, like, oh, Book Lovers is amazing. But that ending, it sucks. And I haven't heard that. So yeah, I just hope it's good. I am drinking some tea. It's like an immune tea, because everyone I know at the moment is ill, and I don't want to get ill. So I finished Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved the characters. They all feel very developed, and like they were real people that Emily Henry knew well. And the main love interest, I just really liked him. I thought he was really good. Definitely the type of man that I would be attracted to. But the main love interest, he feels like he complements the main character Nora really, really well. And they don't change for each other. They're like their true person around each other, which I really love. I don't love in romance novels where people change for other people. I don't necessarily feel like that really reflects real life. A lot of the time people don't change, and you meet the person that, you know, loves you and loves all your flaws and kind of who you are as a person, and doesn't expect you to change the moment that you get together. But something that I also really appreciated about this book was that the romantic relationship wasn't the only one that was treated with like great importance. If anything, the relationship between Nora and her younger sister Libby is put on an even higher pedestal. Like, the importance of other relationships are really valued in this book. And it made it so that for me, what made this book was the relationship between Nora and Libby, and these two sisters that are growing and changing and adapted to complicated situations in their life together. And that just really made the book for me. Like I loved the romance. The romance was written really, really well. But overall, I think this book just demonstrated love really well, and all types of love for that, like love for your family, love for a lost one, love for your partner, love for the place you grew up, for the new places that you discover in your life, and also love for your job, which I think we often see like tropes in movies and things like that, which actually this book starts off by talking about, where big city lady goes and she goes to the countryside and discovers a man who makes her realize that her big city life and her big city job isn't, all that and everything like that. And that always just feels misogynistic to me at a very base value. There are plenty of people, I'm sure, who have written about this topic much more than I can like put to thoughts at like what, 8:45 on like a random Tuesday evening. But yeah, this book, it just wasn't afraid of all types of love, I think, and it wasn't afraid to show that these types of love can be really complicated. It had a really compelling and realistic conflict where the characters had to come to terms with, sometimes you have to give up one thing that you love to pursue another thing that you love, and that the people in your life, like, they come and go, and your loved ones might leave one day and you never see them again. And even though that is something that's really, really scary, it's realistic, and I just really appreciated this romance book also touching on that sort of thing. This book, it just felt perfect for what I wanted in a romance, and I'll admit that it had me like grinning like an idiot at the end. I was making soup at the same time in my kitchen, and I was just grinning in my kitchen reading this book. I think it has ruined all other romances for me, in the fact that I will kind of expect this level whenever I read a romance now. And I think it's a shame that my first ever romance book was this good. Because at the end of the day, this book was just perfect for me, and perfect for what I personally wanted in a romance. So that is the end of this video. It is the 24th of February. I will try and have this up before the end of February. And in this video, I aimed to read about 3 books. And I only read 1, which is fine, because I loved that 1 book. And I knew that 3 books would be very ambitious for me. I think I'm going to continue to read Felix Ever After. It's there on my bedside. Even though, like, I actually think that I've probably grown out of this book. I'll get about halfway through it, and I'll see, and I'll probably talk about it in like a wrap-up video at the end of March, which I'm planning on doing. But yeah, like I said, I'm not loving it. I'll continue to read through it, because I think I'm only 50 pages in, and it's, quite a nice, easy read as well. It's YA, so while it's tackling complex topics, it's doing them in a way that's really, accessible and everything like that. What I'm trying to say is, I think Felix Ever After definitely is a really important book, even though I'm not particularly enjoying it. The other book that I haven't actually spoken about in this video was All About Love. I read what I think is either the intro chapter or the prologue to the book, and I actually really did like it. It's just that I've been reading a lot of non-fiction for my uni assignments, so when I get fully fed up about reading about psychology, I'll probably pick up All About Love, which will probably contain psychology, but from memory, I loved the prologue. I read it at the start of the month, so I don't particularly remember it, but it did draw me in, and I think it's just that book lovers trapped me, and I don't read quickly. It took me all month to read Book Lovers, so I will definitely get around to All About Love and to Felix Ever After, and I'll probably talk about them in another video. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a lovely day or night.